Hey guys, my name is Latoya. Welcome to my crafty space. In today's video, I'm going to be going over my Valentine's Day card. This is actually the last one that I created. This is a late share just because I have a lot of things I'm juggling, but I'm committed to sharing my makes with you guys, purchases, just full disclosure, all of those things, just talking about all the, hidden things some crafters don't discuss, and that's usually money. But in this video, we're not talking about money. It's just this make. For this card here, I am so thrilled. I got to play with my favorite things, Something Sweet card kit, which I've only played with one other time. So I took that out, blew the dust off of it. And I also got to play with this photo play stamp set. This Happy Valentine's Day Bolded Sentiment is one of my favorites. I've used it before on previous cards. Also engaged in some play with some other goodies that have not seen the light of day, but that I've purchased and that I obviously love. Please do give this video a like if you do like it, and subscribe to my channel if you would like also. Now, for this card, a part of the footage is going to be from my old phone, and then the other footage that I'm going to fill in the blanks with is just going to be from my new phone, so you might see a slight change in video quality, just so you guys know. Let's get into making this card. Hi you guys, voiceover Latoya here. I started out with knowing I wanted to play with Pool Party. So I took out that color, I ran it through a heart embossing folder that I've been chopping at the bit to play with. And then I dusted the dust off of my favorite things. I'd say this is like a die kit because it's primarily all dies. It is absolutely adorable. It makes these beautiful cake pops, and I've only played with it one other time, so I knew I wanted to take it out for Valentine's Day. I went through my scrap bin, which I'm also excited to share with you guys because it's kind of different from how I've seen other people store scraps. But anyhow, I chose what colors I thought would bode well together. And now I'm just placing my items down so I can run them through the cardstock in my die cut machine, which is going to be my Gemini Junior. I also took out a very old Martha Stewart heart embossing folder, and I'm using that to figure out what I want to do as far as sprinkles on the cake pops. I pretty much just wanted like an explosion of hearts on this card. Once everything is nice and tidy on my magic mat, which is not very magnetic anymore, I'm running it through my Gemini Junior. If I feel like my items are secure or if they move a little bit, but I have space on my cardstock, I don't use tape to secure them because I think they're fine. And as you can see, nothing moved. All is well, and I'm actually going to go ahead and double up on a couple pieces of these scraps and run them through again. I'm not sure how many die pieces I want to use on this card, but it's better to have too many than too little. As I'm sitting these pieces down, I'm pretty thrilled with the color combination. I think it looks fantastic, and I'm just tickled by the chocolate addition on top of those cake pops. I decided to go with the white sticks for my cake pops. I thought about color, but then I also thought, okay, that's too much. We're just gonna go basic with the white. Now I'm experimenting with the hearts, trying to see if I'm going to get the proper size that I want for my cake pops with this punch here. As soon as I placed the first one down, I already knew they're a bit too big for what I'm going for. So you're about to see me go through my stash and pull out my cover plates. These are the heart cover plates I have. Now, if you don't know, a cover plate is basically like a die cut. You run it through your die cutting machine, and whatever shapes have an opening, that's the image that's going to come out as like a small die piece. So in this instance, I just ran it through to get those very small hearts. And literally, as soon as I popped them out, I already knew they were going to be the perfect size for my cake pops. When possible, I like to work in threes, so I was pretty ecstatic that this gives me what I want. And I will use a scrap sheet of paper until it disintegrates. So I ran that piece again through my die cutting machine to get a few more hearts out of it. Hey, I paid for that cardstock, I'm gonna use it. Now I took out this Tailored Expression, really cool rectangular die. This cuts out basically 1,000,000 frames, which is fantastic. And I only came across this because I was just browsing one day, like mindlessly. It's good for adding things to your wish list, but it also can be dangerous. So just use caution if you're going to do so. In this instance, I was very happy with what I found, and I ended up purchasing this frame set like a few months later. Now I'm using my glue press to affix my chocolate piece to my cake pop. Pretty much just press and hold it and make sure it's nice and snug before you let it go. Now I did just use my tweezers to help aid me with getting the glue on and putting it onto the cake pop. However, that step is unnecessary, as you're about to see. I'm like, I can just hold the very end of that chocolate and then press it on, and there's plenty of glue to help that chocolate stay onto the other piece of cardstock. Now, I wanted to give that chocolate just an extra pump up, just to make it a tad more noticeable. So I'm using a scrap sheet of paper, taking out a small tailored expression brush, and using this early espresso ink just to add a little bit more dimension to it. I will be showing my other ink blending brushes, like the smaller ones that I forgot about, that I'm gonna show myself on camera, like, hey, remember you have these? I ended up doing an overhaul on my blending brushes so everything's closer together, and I don't forget that I have like the smaller, more precise ones for me to use later on. But again, adding this ink just made that chocolate look a little bit more yummy. And because this was such a small space, I didn't need my glass mat by Tim Holtz. Oh, there's my brushes. So after ink blending, I always take items off of my project, and if I'm going to work on them, just flip them over so I don't ruin anything. I say that from experience, it's happened. Now I'm going to place my cake pop sticks on the cake pops. Just a little bit of glue will do ya. So just a little bit of glue is needed just to keep those in place. And now I'm just making sure that my sizing is fine for my base panel. I'm going to go ahead and affix that so I can start putting this card together. I'm very excited. It's always nice to see all of the images you've worked on, just all the pieces come together and make something new. I really, really love that. I love creating. It's fantastic. Now, I'm not going to end up going with this frame, as you'll see in the future. However, just for sake of me experimenting, I'm like, okay, I'm going to throw this down. I know I want to use a frame, but I'm going to hem and haw. And then I moved on to just putting the hearts on the chocolate cake pops instead of figuring out what size frame I wanted. If you're ever stuck or in doubt, start doing something else. You can always come back to what you're stuck on. I mean, if you need to go do some push-ups or something, like, go just do something else and get your blood flowing and creativity going. Now I'm just cleaning up the little bit of glue that smudged out of the side. You want to be careful when using glue with dye ink because sometimes you can get a color that appears. Now I'm showing you guys, this is the updated footage that I used this Happy Valentine's Day block sentiment. I did stamp that out in early espresso. And it's so beautiful. I really love that sentiment. And overall, that is a very nice stamp set. Also, just pointing out that I did change the frame. I chose one smaller in size. And now I'm just bending the card so you can see the light reflect off of the heart enamel dots that I made from scratch. That's going to be another video. But I did finally get to use this heart punch, which I'm so excited about. I just pride myself on using old stuff. I used that on my early espresso cardstock, punched some of those beautiful hearts out. And like I said, I'll show you guys how I make enamel hearts. But this is like my little aftermath sheet. And I am going to save these extra hearts that I just demoed for you all. So up next, I have these dies here. They're from my favorite things. They have rounded corners and they're just really cute. I love them. It has also a stitching around the perimeter, which is really nice. So I decided to take a scrap sheet of paper, run that through my Gemini, and use that as a housing piece for my cake pops. Now, I decided to use a little bit of ink blending just to make this white piece not appear so dull. I don't do this frequently, so it's also something new for me. So I took out my Pool Party, one of my little blending brushes for dye ink, and just did a very light blend because I wanted the color to be subtle, again, to just give way to mainly the cake pops being the focal point of the card. I think for this little quote unquote technique, if you can call it that, just using a light hand will give you the results you want. And also just making sure your brush isn't swaying outside of the imaginary area that you want the color to actually remain in. So here I just focused it more towards the center. And yeah, overall, pretty happy with the result, even with my repeating it just to show you guys. I might use this little panel for something else, but it's okay. Last but not least, I have this beautiful die set. It's called Bows Galore by Paper Tree Ink. Never used it before. I literally stocked this and waited. I had to wait months before I could afford it. And I was literally tickled to add it to my stash. It is an abundance of bow dies, which are absolutely fantastic. Now, this cake pop set did not come with the bow, and I thought a bow would suit this as just a little additional piece. So I went ahead and ran one of the bows that I thought suited the cake pops in that flirty flamingo color through my Gemini Junior. And as you can see, it just looks great. It looks better against the purple, obviously, because of contrast. So that sums up my card. I hope you guys are inspired. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all do something crafty that makes your heart happy. I'll talk to you soon.